Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So the Veep stakes is over. Kamala Harris finally made her choice for who her running mate's going to be in this upcoming election cycle, and it's the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. It's just Walz, not Waltz. People keep pronouncing his name wrong, and I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I guess it kind of makes sense. That's why he was picked, since I've never heard anybody say Kamala Harris's name the same way twice, whether she gets Kamala or Kamela. These two are joined at the hip at people purposefully saying their names wrong, which I can relate to that and all, but that's not why I think this is a good pick. There was a whole short list of people that she could have picked from. There was Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, uh, Mark Kelly, the astronaut from Arizona, which I thought that would have been awesome. I don't really know much about his politics or his track record or anything, but it's hard to one up an astronaut. And Andy Bashir, he just seems like a kind of he was neon white, I think is the best way to describe him. And then of course Josh Shapiro, who I know a lot of people were gunning for. And while he certainly could have filled that spot, to me when I hear him speak and his like presence on stage, he kind of maybe it's because of the Obama impression it seems like he's doing, but it seems like he would have too much presence on stage. Like he wants to be the president. Like he wouldn't want to be good at vice president. At least that's what I felt from that. And then that leaves us with Tim Walz, who I've heard described as the generation of fathers we lost to Fox News. And I think that's kind of, I mean, just look through his social media postings and stuff like that if you want to, the normalcy of this kind of guy. He's got two kids, he's got a wife, reads Star Wars stuff. It's probably the closest we're going to get to somebody in the White House who knows who Asajj Ventress is. So if that's, your one issue thing, by all means, vote for the guy. There is going to be some criticisms that come up about him. Of course, there's going to be lots of info digging that Republicans are going to be doing for the next few months, but notably some things have come up. The first thing I saw was a DUI charge in the 90s, which I don't like that. As someone who's been hitting cars while in a car and on a bike, cars can mess people up a lot. And he did get a DUI and also a speeding ticket in the 90s. Uh, the story was, I thought it was kind of silly. Said that he lied to the cop about being deaf to try to get out of the ticket, which I thought that was just really hilarious, a way to frame it. But turns out he actually is hard of hearing because of service in the National Guard. He's had surgery to fix that by now, but that leads into another criticism of him that's going to show up, that he stolen valor, that he abandoned his troops as they were about to go into Iraq. And he did. After 24 years with the National Guard, he left right as the war in Iraq was happening. You know. And I think that one will be a more significant hurdle to jump over for some people. It's, if you look at polling data among veterans regarding whether or not that incursion was a good idea, the ones who were involved in it, the ones who were actually serving during that time, they have the highest we should have gone at like 40%. Almost 60%. I think it's 59 or 57% of those veterans say it was a bad idea, which it is the majority, but that's still close. I think that's the biggest criticism of him that he's going to have to get over, at least that's been dug up so far. The other stuff is his track record as a governor, where he made sure kids got free lunches at school and, decriminalized marijuana. So, those sorts of things, I feel like most of the stuff that he went for, his policies, Republicans are unironically going to call some of this stuff socialism. And it's just like, why wouldn't I want kids to have food? Why wouldn't I want a child to not feel embarrassed about asking for food? Regardless of all of this, no matter who they picked, what me and you have to do for the next few months doesn't really change. It's going to be easier on us, I would say. It seems like Democrats actually want to win. They're all on point with their messaging. They're very lined up. AOC said she's never seen the Democrats in such array. And that's real. The establishment Democrats, the fringe, you know, the squad, they're all in agreement that this is, you know, where they want the party to move forward with this election. So all we have to do, me and you, register to vote. For one, make sure that you're registered to vote, and get people around you registered to vote. You know, I know it's weird to talk about this stuff. You don't have to bring up who you're voting for or why somebody should change their vote. Just make sure that they are registered. Get them at least that involved in the process. And you should be doing more community work around. I'm not saying, you know, that's the end of the line, but at the very least, get people involved in this process. The more people who are actually voting on election day or through early voting, mail-in voting, however we should do it, get them involved, because really that's all we have to do. If they stay in line with their messaging, if they keep this up, you know, it does seem childish to keep going with this weird stuff, but it's really working against the modern right. You know, they do not have a counter for this, because I guess they get that their policies and their positions and their people are kind of weird. So just get normal people registered to vote, get yourself registered to vote, and that's it. You know, for the next few months, we're going to watch the GOP meltdown over this. And I guess until we get some more funny stuff in our news feeds, until we see more stuff from these campaign rallies, I'll try to have a good day.